Hello everyone. Today I'm sharing how to select outsourced graphic designers for Douyin. Focus on this ability rather than the portfolio. This is something many businesses only gradually realize after repeatedly making mistakes during the Douyin campaign, account setup, and scaling phases. Because the reality is often, the portfolio looks great, the style is trendy, but the first image goes live, and then it doesn't move, doesn't share, and doesn't retweet. You'll start to wonder, is the graphic designer incompetent? Is their aesthetic sense wrong? But the truth is, your selection criteria were flawed from the start. First, the conclusion. The most important thing about outsourced graphic designers for Douyin isn't how good the work is. On the Douyin platform, looking good is never the primary standard. What truly determines success or failure is one ability: the ability to capture the user's attention. If the creator only showcases exquisite visuals, consistent style, aesthetically pleasing, but fails to explain, why does this particular video attract attention? Why is the emphasis placed this way? Which information must be deleted? Then, no matter how beautiful the work is on Douyin, it will most likely be a swipe-away design. 2. Why is looking at the portfolio extremely unreliable in Douyin's filtering process? Because the portfolios you see often have 3 filters. Filter 1. What you see is the best-looking static frame, but the real Douyin scenario is flooding the screen. Skip high contrast. A good-looking static frame doesn't guarantee survival in a flood of views. Filter 2. You don't know if the work has been tested by data. Many works haven't been submitted, haven't been tested, haven't gone through the screening process. They just look good. The value of Douyin's graphic designers must withstand the test of data analysis. Filter 3. Portfolios don't reveal deletion skills. Portfolios only show what was added, but never tell you what was deleted, why they dared to delete. For Douyin design, deletion is far more important than addition. 3. Douyin graphic design. Outsourcing, the real core competencies to filter. What you need to see is not whether they can create images, but whether they can make judgments. The following 4 points are far more important than the work itself. IV. Competency. 1. Do they have 3-second judgment awareness? You can directly ask them, what should users understand at first glance from this image? If their answer is composition, color scheme, font, that's likely Taobao logic. If their answer is stop, understand what's being sold first, then decide whether to continue, that's Douyin thinking. V. Skill. 2. Can you proactively cut information? You can ask, if this image has too much information, how would you handle it? A graphic designer who truly understands Douyin will say, leave one key element for judgment. Weaken or delete everything else instead of, I'll make it look better for you. Douyin doesn't fear less, it fears more. 6. Skill 3. Can you explain why it's designed this way? This is the most crucial point in the selection process. You can ask them to explain, what is the focal point of this image? Why is it placed in this position? Why not use another selling point? If their explanation is, it looks better this way, this is popular now, then the risk is very high. A truly usable answer will always be, for user engagement, for initial impressions, to avoid being swiped away. 7. Ability 4. Understanding, testing mindset, rather than one draft decides fate. TikTok design is essentially a continuous testing process. You can directly ask, if this version doesn't perform well, what's your next step? A reliable answer will always be, first determine if it's a click issue or an engagement issue. Make small adjustments to one variable. Don't completely overhaul the entire version. Instead of, then I'll try a different style. 8. A very useful TikTok graphic designer screening question checklist. You can directly ask these 5 questions during communication. 1. What can the user understand from this image within 3 seconds? 2. If you could only keep one selling point, which one? 3. What content would you suggest deleting? 4. If the data is bad, what do you fix first? 5. What problem are you most afraid of encountering when creating images for Douyin? Does your answer revolve around staying to watch, judging, deleting, and testing? It's immediately clear if it's on the right track. Why is judgmentability more important than aesthetics? Because aesthetics determine how good it looks, while judgmentability determines whether it's worth existing. In an environment like Douyin, not seen, not existing, not watched, no chance. Therefore, an average graphic designer who can make judgments is more valuable than a senior graphic designer who only knows how to make things look good. A word of honest advice for businesses currently selecting Douyin graphic design outsourcing services. Stop asking, "What styles have you worked on?" Instead, ask, "How can you prevent me from being scrolled away?" When you shift your focus from portfolio to judgmentability, the probability of making a mistake will drop by half. In short, how to select Douyin graphic design outsourcing services. Look at their abilities, not their portfolio. What you should really look for is, do they have a 3-second awareness? Are they willing to delete posts? Can they clearly explain their judgment logic? Do they use data instead of feelings when revising images? When you find a graphic designer who can make judgments and not just someone who can draw pictures, Douyin Design will truly start working on data for you instead of emotions.